We can unmute that. And we can get started. How are my levels? Okay. Oh my goodness. Where am I? I'm here. Look, I have a new camera. It's not shitty like the last stream I did. Hey. I see your question. When will you upload a tutorial on how to interact with objects in 3D? I know I made a very short stream highlight on that last week, but it wasn't very complete, and also maybe had some mistakes. But that's okay. It was just chilling. But it's a good idea. It's pretty easy, so I could probably smash that one out. I'm kind of a bit cold on tutorials at the moment. I don't really feel like making them. It's just not fun anymore. But I do know how to do that, so I could make one. But first, I wanted to talk about a hate message that I got. Someone was mean to me online, and it hurt my feelings. And where is my desktop? Here it is. From some guy, I don't know how to say his name. Another stupid Godot tuber. Which is a strange name. Is that what people call me? Is that what they call people who make YouTube videos about Godot? But I thought it was weird because like I've been making Godot YouTube for like ages now, since like 2020. Thanks, Metro. But yeah, I thought this was really interesting because like you know how the algorithm works, right? Like if you interact with something, it's going to show you more. So if you don't want to see Godot tubers, maybe don't leave comments on their shorts. I don't know. Just some advice. If you don't want to see it, the fastest way not to see something is to just scroll on by. Or you can just click the button and says, don't show me this. Or dislike it. I don't care about that. You could dislike it. It's not going to worry me. But if you leave a comment, well, you're just going to see more of me. So shout out. That guy's probably going to see this because I'm going to turn it into a short. What a classic. So Metro Boy, I have got an interaction system happening here. So I can show you, it's not a tutorial, but I can show you how it works. We've got a class, which is just a rigid body. So I'm assuming, actually, where's my test world? Is this the right level? This is not the right level. Inside upper will do. So I've got this lovely little mug here, and I can just pick it up, right? That's what you're looking to learn how to do, right? Which is pretty cool. Well, not really. Tutorial on how to interact with objects in 3D with a raycast. Okay, fair enough. I'm not using a raycast. Because that's too hard. I'll be honest with you. It's easier to use an Area 3D for this. But if you're not picking up ammo packages, for example. Okay, yeah. Well, you know what? That is something I have to do for this project. So why don't we work on that? Let's see what I've got in my test world. So I had it all working, you know, but see, I've got a weapon here. I had everything working totally fine. And I was using a raycast. So I had essentially this exact same thing. You can see it here. This is an Area 3D now. It was a raycast, and it's okay, but you have to, because raycasts don't emit signals, right? So like, if you want to know if it's hitting something, you have to continually check for it. And I found that kind of annoying. So I decided to change it to an Area 3D, which works just the same. So all I'm doing is I've got a signal. I've just connected the regular signals, body entered, body exited, and I'm checking to see if it's interactable, and then I'm calling that onDetected function on the interactable. So you could do this exactly the same. Hey, nice man from Twitch. Who's nice man? So I've got that interactable going. And so you could do this with a raycast. It would be pretty similar. I've probably even got the code in here somewhere, because this is just the game I'm making, but I'm not really making a game project where I just make stuff and then I make videos about it. So let me think for a second. Objects. It's going to be on the player controller. Thank you, nice man. I don't have notifications yet. I should probably set them up. I'm a real boomer when it comes to this kind of stuff. You know, like, but what you make. I am making an FPS. I'm making an FPS. I guess I'll just say that. I don't know what I'm making, but let me go to the test world, because that's probably, you know, we're a bit sort of in the middle of it. We've got the enemies, which are just red balls. We've got an inventory, so think like Prey or Deus Ex kind of style inventory system that I want to get going up here. We've got the pistol, and we can just shoot these bad guys. Oh, ran out of ammo. These guys are really easy. So, you know, this is just sort of what I want to do is I want to make... eventually, right now I'm working on the interactions, but the next step is to start working on better enemy AI, because they're really basic at the moment. But right now I've got an interaction system that I'm working on. See these audio diaries, and we can pick them up, no problems. We can play them. This is an example audio log, and it's just an example at the moment because there's nothing else. And we've got tutorial on enemies. When I make a good enemy, I'll probably make a video on it, but right now my enemies are not that good. And obviously this is meant to be a med pack, so you're meant to be able to pick that up, ammo, and obviously the weapon. And like I said, I had everything going, but I decided to change it from a raycast to an area 3D. So I'm just sort of picking up the pieces on that. And the reason I changed it is because YouTube... Oh, it should be in the links on the page. It's Chef Games. And so I made an audio log plugin, and I just, at that point, had decided that I wanted the Area 3D to be the thing that interacted with stuff, just because it's a little bit cleaner, you know? So let's look at how we can pick up the weapon. And I'm going to need to do some work on the weapon system, because right now, I'll be honest with you guys, like, I don't remember how I set up the weapon system for this, because my tutorial on a weapon system didn't include physically picking up the weapons. It just automatically detected it. And I treated the weapon list, as I called it in the tutorial, more like a database than sort of objects like you would for object-oriented programming. My background isn't programming, so I work with databases way more often. I'm not a programmer in my day-to-day job, and it just felt it made sense to me at the time. And so, like, we've got to backtrack around that and fix that up. So we've got a lot to do. Where is my 3D? So let's look at the weapon and how that's working. So it's got an area 3D on it. So how I'm getting around how these sort of worked, where they had the type of weapon and just a string for the weapon name, right? So how this gets picked up by the system is that when it gets sent to the weapon system, it gets sent with its name and the amount of ammo and reserve ammo and all that kind of stuff. But we need a way to interact with it. Long live Chaos Esport. Twitch scam you. Oh my god, I need moderation. Can I moderate from add to blog list and stop? Yeah, thank you, Metro. Metro boy. Having a hard time saying your name. But yeah, so that system wasn't designed to work with inventory. So making it work with inventory has been something that I've wanted to do, but I've only just started looking at it, and then I got distracted with audio logs and interaction systems. But we can look at that, you know. So I've got an interaction. This is the old one, so it extends area 3D, which is kind of a problem because the new system, the interactable, actually extends rigid body 3D, which is, I don't know if it's a good choice. It's a choice, and we're gonna have to work with that. Now, the good thing about it is that these rigid body, the weapons that I can pick up, they are rigid body 3D, so I can extend from the interactable instead, and the functionality should be the same. So I'll delete that node. Now I just need to implement the 3 functions that the interaction system is expecting. So I can just copy those. For now, I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to do anything when it's detected right now. Maybe at some point in the future. Also, I noticed I forgot to clear the desk behind me. Look at this. It's my junk desk. God. You know, I moved back into this house 2 years ago, and I still haven't completed setting up this room. It's just been a long process. Anyway. So, okay. So let's check out on interacted, because that's what we really care about, right? On finished interaction, I don't think we're going to need to do any of them. I'm going to leave them here. So on interacted, that is the most important function call. So when we are interacting with something, we press the audio logic interact function. I should rename that, but we'll leave it as it is for now, because I don't want to break anything too much. And if we're looking at something, so that's all that means. So we've got a collectible, which is an interactable. Naming on this is horrible. Should I change that? Just make it like underscore interactable. What's the way to do that? You go Control F. No, is it Control R? Replace all, selection only, whole words, match case. I don't want to like do it anywhere beyond this script. Just do it like I do at work. Just select anything and then just go selection only. Interactable, just to make it a little bit more understandable. So we've got an interactable that is basically stored when the area 3D goes over the object, then it is stored as a variable, and if you press the interaction button, we call on interacted, and that's it. So now we just need to work out what to do with it. Let's get back to this script here. So we get a copy of the node. So we know what the player is, but we also need to add it to the inventory. And I've forgotten how that works, which is a problem. I don't know. Let's have a look. The inventory. The weapon script. So how do we add an weapon? I know I've changed it. Let's make this a bit bigger. Equip weapon. Okay. It takes a weapon. When is this called though? Update weapon stack emit. Exit item data weapon name. Okay, so that gets called at some point. I probably don't need to worry about that then. So it gets added to the inventory instead of getting added to the weapon stack, because we're bypassing the weapon manager. No longer needs to know what's in the weapon stack, because it doesn't matter anymore, because the inventory, I totally know what I'm talking about here. Jesus. Inventory. Play inventory. Hang on a second. Let's get back to this. You got like that menacing voice. Make a game like Getting Over It and your voice will fit. I've never played Getting Over It. I should add it to the list of things I need to try. Metroid Boy has asked, for saving the information of a weapon, do I recommend a JSON file or a Godot resource? So, I recommend you use a JSON file or something like that over a resource. And the reason for that is that I've discovered, or I've been told, informed, that using a Godot resource isn't a good idea because of security issues. So the main problem that you're going to have when you use a Godot resource for saving that information, especially if you're working on an exported game, that Godot resource needs to be saved in the user directory. And what that means is it's going to be accessible to them. Now, this isn't so much of an issue for the player. Okay, they can edit the file because they are human readable if you choose for them to be, which is fine. Like, especially if it's a single player game, they want to mess around with that file. Who cares? If it's an online game, I mean, probably still an issue, especially if you don't want people editing that file. It would need to be stored on the server, which is way less of an issue in terms of security. But the main issue with Godot resources is that they execute code when you don't realize it. I don't make games or even practice. How could I start as a schooler? I assume you mean in school, Nice Man. I think the best way to start is, I think Godot is a good engine. It doesn't really matter. You probably need to learn how to code. So any place you can start there. Godot is a pretty user-friendly place to start. If you don't know how to code, you could totally do that. Oh, this music got really loud, eh? Sorry. So, yeah, Godot's great. Find a tutorial. I wouldn't recommend mine if you've never coded before. Bracky's just made a whole new tutorial on how to make games. So, I haven't watched it yet. I'm assuming it's very good. He's very good, if you know what I mean. How did you do script? How to make a game. It's 1 hour. I reckon give it a go. If you don't know where to start. Other than that, maybe start with Python. Learn some coding fundamentals. It took me years. I'll be honest with you. It took me so long. Realistically, I've been wanting to make games since I was a child, right? Like, I think that's for a lot of us, you know, when we first play games, maybe you're really young. Like, I was like 5 years old when I first got introduced to gaming. And pretty much from that moment, I wanted to start making games. But, you know, it's hard. And like, people tried to but I suck at turtle. I don't know what that means. You know, like, I remember my dad trying to show me how to code when I was like 5 years old. I didn't get it. And then when I was like a teenager, I found out about RPG Maker, and I was using that because you didn't need to know how to code. But there was also Game Maker around, and I tried to use that, but I just couldn't figure it out for like ages. And eventually, I mean, I just forgot about it, right? Like, you're a teenager. I just moved on. I played music. I went to university and all that kind of stuff. And I finished my degree. I finished my master's, and I was like, okay, I'm not learning anything for like the first time in like 6 years. And I really wanted to learn how to code because I think, you know, it's the future, right? Like, I'm an accountant, but I need to know how to code. There's still, you know, Visual Basic that we have to write. Microsoft Excel is coming out with Total is based on, oh, okay, I didn't know that. So like, I wanted to learn that. This was in 2015. I sort of decided at that point in 2015, I wanted to learn how to code. And still, like, I spent years, like, I guess it would have been 3 years, like on and off trying to learn different things. I remember I took like a free course that was on Microsoft's website on how to use, how to write C# to make mobile apps and stuff like that. And it had a really good basic course that taught me, like, you know, all the basics, like variables, Boolean, all that kind of stuff. But then when it went to like that next step of actually making an application, I couldn't do it because I guess the fundamentals just weren't ingrained enough. And then in 2018, I think I sort of remembered that I wanted to make games. And I did is it Game Dev TV? I did Game Dev TV. Yeah, these guys. I took one of their Udemy courses. I bought it. It's like $10 on Udemy, and I got Blender and I got Unity and Unreal, all for $10. And I did the Blender course because at the time I thought I wanted to make 3D models and stuff. Like, I'd given up on learning how to code. I was like, I want to do something in this space. I'll learn how to make 3D models. Turns out I suck. But I still had the Unity and the Unreal course, and I did the Unity one. I got about, it's like $800. Wow, what the fuck, bro? They gotta put some freaking specials on. It's expensive. Yeah, that's fucked, bro. They're like USD 15. Wow. RS Russia? I don't know where that is. I know that's a lot of letters. India. I'm just guessing at this point. India. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know. Well, hopefully you find something. But yeah, so I took their Unity course, and after that I was able to finally start learning. And it was still like a long time, like 2018, I spent like 2 years on and off trying to figure that out. I don't know, actually. It's a good question because at the time I think I just didn't know how like available learning had become at that point, because like realistically, and maybe it's just me being like a bit of a boomer when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like I went through uni, and that was in 2009. In 2009, I don't think there was many learning resources online for free. And I had sort of just focused on my studies until 2015. And yeah, I don't know. I really don't have a good question for you, because now, like, I would say, yeah, just go do Bracky's course. It's probably as good, right? It's probably the best you can get. at this point in time, most up to date. It's only 3 weeks old. It's got 855,000 views. It's okay? Okay. Yeah. Or even, I reckon, to be honest, like when I started getting into Godot, I used Heartbeast. And for me, Heartbeast was by far the best. Like, he's really good. Without a doubt, you can learn everything about Godot with his courses. He makes so many. Like, he's got one right now, 6 months ago, Space Shooter using components. So it's component based, which is really good. But he's honestly, he's probably the GOAT. I don't know about anyone who's been doing it longer than him. There probably is people who have been doing it longer. But for me, at least, he is what I used to learn how to use Godot back in 2020. So he also makes Game Maker Studio tutorials. Maybe that's out of date. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Heartbeast is really good. I wouldn't recommend myself. Learn a bit of Godot before you come to my channel. I'm all over the place too. I'm not qualified for this. I just do it for fun. Okay, inventory manager. I'm trying to figure out how to get my weapon into the inventory. I've done it before. It's possible. I know it is. I just don't know how it is. I've got some problems. I need to backtrack a second. Where's the first level? This project is a mess. I'm looking on the software like I know what to do. Yeah, it's a bit like that sometimes. I wish I knew what I was doing too. Outside. Outer building. Is there something here that I can... Whoa. You. What's the script here? Pass on item. Ray.pass on item. Okay. Slot data. So this had item. Yeah, look at this. So this is what I'm missing. This is the missing piece. I had the rigid body and it had slot data and a label. Yeah, like if you have more than two, it can get frustrating. Assign a key up. Well, with the tutorial I made, it's finished, right? So if I'm gonna make a new one, it'll probably be contained, which means it's not gonna follow on. Hey, Flame Bamboo, thanks. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so Metro, I like for that one, like it is as is. And maybe I'll make more tutorials on like weapon systems in the future, like maybe next year or like later on this year. But for now, it's completed and that's it, you know? So it just goes up and down in increments, right? So it doesn't have like slots. What you would need to do, so you say that and I'm like, nah, I'm not making any more videos, but I have actually been working on the Godot FPS controller. So this is the template that you can download from the assets store. So if you come to the assets store and you look for like Godot first person, I think I've got it under shooter. Oh yeah, can't even search my own thing. I mean, why can't you use real life places to use in your game? Sure, you just got to make them. That's the whole. Bro, where's my plugin? Quality for it's not mine. Hey. Category. Did I get booted? I don't know what it's called. Excuse me. I'm just going to sign in to the asset library. Oh my God, why did I? Okay, so first person shooter template. Oh my God, why does it do that? All right. For support level. Huh? Huh? Rip to my package. Not that package. Why can't I find it? Dude, that's crazy. Won't be in this list. Well, it will be, but it will be far away. It's in templates under community. So it should be there. 3D tools, all material shader. Oh, maybe you can't find it. Quit the project list. Asset library projects. Ah. Is that what? Ugh. Dude, what the fuck? Godot just hates me today. Okay, we're back on track. So, I'm working on an update for the first person shooter template that you can download from the asset library. And at the moment, so you've asked me, how can we have like assignable locations for your weapons, right? Let me just refresh my memory because we just went on such a journey now. Oh, why Linux? Well, why not? I mean, it's not really like, I don't even use it. I don't use it for work. It's just, I don't know what to say. Like, you can use Windows. There's nothing wrong with Windows. It's probably a lot, I guess what I'd say. Like, I've just been using Linux for a long time. So I started using it in 2007. I was using Ubuntu for ages, Ubuntu, however you want to say it. And like, I used it on and off. Occasionally I use Windows at work, right? But for me, it just is so much simpler and easier to get things done. If you want something done, you can just jump into the terminal. I don't know, it's faster to do stuff. And I don't even use it to its full potential. Like, other people go really hard, but I just like it. There's not really any reason for it. And these days, what's better, Unity or Unreal? Well, I think for a beginner, probably Unity, but realistically, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever you want to use, you just use it, I think Godot is the best one, realistically. But that's just me. Like, it's not the best at certain things. And it's really good at 2D. So if you're working on a 2D project, you want to make some pixel art, it's, in my opinion, by far one of the best choices. Not to say that the other choices are bad, if you want to use Game Maker, that's totally fine. But Godot is great. For 3D, it depends what you want to do, right? If you want a large open world, why? Yeah. Probably the brand ambassador for Godot. Well, I think probably a lot of people that use Godot and a lot of people that are like involved in the community, yeah, I'm going to support it. Like, I like it. I use it. I make videos about it, and I do it for free. Like, of course, I'm going to be someone that likes Godot. But yeah, I'm not going to say that the other ones are worse or you shouldn't use them. So if you want to use something else, that's totally fine. Especially if you want to make something like really detailed. Mira Inferno, why did I use an Arch-based distro? And that is entirely because I feel the opposite to what you've stated there. I don't think Debian, well, okay, depends how you define stable, right? But like I've had a better experience with Linux using Arch than any other distro. And it's mostly, I put it down to rolling release. So for me, I prefer a rolling release over like a stage release. You know, every 6 months you get a new Ubuntu, you get a new Fedora, you get, I don't know how often they update Debian, probably like once every 5 years. I'm joking, obviously. But because of those like long distances between updates, when something goes wrong, it's like way more hassle to fix things. And then the way that they do repos, like if you add something, you add a repo to Ubuntu, and it's been a long time since I've used Ubuntu, so maybe I'm wrong here. I'm just chatting, you know. So if you add a repo to Ubuntu, a repository, and then you update Ubuntu, but that repo doesn't get updated, you can't use it anymore, you can't get updates, it's super annoying, and you have to update the repo, and for some reason you can never get rid of it, and it's just causing problems with your system. And it's not really like major problems, it's just like a little warning or whatever whenever you update. I don't like snaps. And because I make videos on Godot, right? Like I need Godot to be always up to date. Now I could use the Steam package, that would be fine and it would work. I could download the app image. That's what I was doing before I moved to Arch. I would just use the app image to get the latest update. But by far the easiest way is just to be on the front line and get the update when it's available. So that was why I moved to Arch. Yeah, and I think it's been great. I haven't had any issues. I've been using, so I used Manjaro for a really long time. I wanted to get closer to the edge, I guess you would say. Am I a full-time game dev? Absolutely not. I wish. No, not at my level. I still have a full-time job. So I'm not even making it. I mean, I've got a project. It's not really a project, if you know what I mean. It's just a place where I progress. I progress that project and then I make videos about it. That's all I can really say about it. I don't want to commit to say I'm making a game. It's just a project. Okay, so I was trying to answer someone else's question. Metro Boy, I believe you asked me how I can do weapon slots. Or how you can... Where is the chat? Okay, so the way I set up the project initially, right, was I set up the project so that it just incremented in either direction, right? There was no limit to the amount of weapons you could hold. There was no order. It was more just like you scroll up, it goes to the next weapon stack. And whenever you added a weapon, it just got added to the next one up, right? So like there was no real order to it, and it depended on how you picked them up. And I just thought, I'll leave it to you guys to figure out how to do that, right? That was literally my thinking on the matter. But then I had a lot of people say the exact same thing to me. You know, a lot of games either have like really specific rules around like how many that you can have. You know, maybe like in Halo, you can only have 2 weapons. In other games like Half-Life 2 or Half-Life, you have like a set of weapons and they go in a slot, and as you unlock them, you know, you can use them. So there's a myriad of different ways that you can set it up. And the problem with mine is that I treated the weapons just like a database. It was just like, add all your weapons to the weapons manager, right? I recently updated the kernel to 6.89, and after that, some games stopped launching. And to fix this, I had to go in the BIOS and enable 4G decoding. Yeah, like that sucks. It happens. I don't play that many games, so I guess I get away with it. I don't have problems with the games I play, and I play like older games, you know? I was trying to play the finals, and I couldn't get it to launch, so I just gave up. And that's just like gaming on Linux. Sometimes you just have to give up. So the weapon manager was just a database. That's all it was. It just, you set the number of weapons at the start of the, like when you loaded the game, and they will all exist in a dictionary. And when you pick them up, there was an array of just string references, and that's how you knew you had them. And so to work around that, you need to set up something called a weapon slot. So it gets more complicated, right? Like if you want to control what weapons are in your stack, then you need to be able to like query them, reference them. You probably need to have separate resources, right? So we've got a weapon slot with a weapon resource, and these need to remain, what's the word? I guess unique. The reason why I had them in a database is because if you change the resource in one spot, it changes everywhere, right? Which is why when I had the weapons, they had just regular integers for the ammo. They had a string reference for the name, just because it's easier. But if you don't want that and you want to be able to control it, you need weapon slots, right? So if you have weapon slots, you can define how many weapon slots there are. You can, when you pick up you can say slot.weapon, you can add a slot, right? If body type weapon, insert, you call a function called insert, I do anyway, on the weapon stack, which is an array, okay? Maybe I'm just talking out my ass here. Hang on a second, let's go back. So it's still looking at a rigid body. Have I like bypassed that? This is still a work in progress. Yeah, if you wanted to use 1, 2, and 3. So if you had that, so like right now, this one has weapon slots, right? And it's got 2. I'm just looking for the function. It's been a couple of weeks since I've looked at this. Give me a moment. So this is now a weapon slot with a weapon, and the ammo is on the weapon slot and not on the weapon. That's how things have changed. So when you're going to pick up a weapon, you probably expect it to be a weapon slot. Change weapon. Oh my god, what am I doing? Weapon slot. Okay, let's have a look at all the places where I'm calling this function. Okay, it makes sense because they're a rigid body. And this is the weapon slot. For slot in weapon. So now I'm checking to see if the slot exists already. And then if it does, we'll add the ammo, right? But if the body type is weapon, we're going to just insert that slot into our array. So that's this here, this array, weapon stack, which used to be just string references, but now it's weapon slots, right? We probably need to rename that at some point, but we're still working through it. And so what you could do here is, where I'm just inserting it, you could just test for the size, right? Like if weapon stack dot size is equal to 2, then return, right? Just as a basic one. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to start with 2 weapons, so I'll have to drop one, right? So now I shouldn't be able to pick up any weapons. But if I drop this weapon, how do I drop the weapon? Oh, I can't drop the weapon. Oh my god. Why can't I drop the weapon? Invalid get index on base dictionary. I don't even understand the error. Where's my script? This is not been written yet, I guess. There is no weapon 3. Yeah, that's a good point, because I just said, I just tested the size is equal to 2. No, size returns just the number of thingies. But we crashed here because we're trying to query the weapon list with the slot, which I don't think is going to work because I've changed the weapon slot to be, well, the weapon stack. So, jumping around too much. So this wouldn't work. It would need to be name. I need to have a look at what weapon list is at the moment. It's a dictionary, right? How's it? Weapon list, dictionary. Am I just not calling it anymore? Yeah, maybe I've just like let go of using that because I didn't need it anymore with the slots, because it doesn't matter, right? Because I'm just holding them in a weapons in slots, so I don't need a whole list. That's not how it works anymore, right? Because I used to keep the weapon list as a massive database of all the weapons, but we've ditched that now. So we're going to have to think of a different way that we can drop weapons. So right now I'm testing to see if the weapon can be dropped. I don't need to check against the weapon list. I need to check against the weapon slot. So let's go to the weapons manager. The weapon slot has the weapon. So if I want to get to that detail now, I need to go to weapon slot.weapon, and then I can get to that same exact variable, which is can be dropped here, right? So let's look at refactoring that. So it's going to be name. I don't really like the name of that variable. How often? I'll work on renaming that after that. I'll get this working and then we'll rename that variable. So we're going to go name dot weapon dot can be dropped, and weapon dot size. That's still good. Where else are we referencing the name? See, weapons list. All places where we've done that, we have to replace it with name.weapon. So at this point, I might as well rename the variable to slot. Because it's going to just tell me where I need to replace it. Weapon dropped. That, and this variable here, weapon stack.find. I'll have to think about that one. These two variables here, weapon dropped, slot.drop instantiate. If I'm thinking about how this is supposed to work, this would be a rigid body with a weapon slot, and that would have the ammo. So I want it to be the same, which means I just need to replace this with slot, because the slot now holds the current ammo, not the weapon. Okay, so at that point then we've got the weapon ref. So this is the part where we tell the weapon manager what weapon to pull up, right? So do we still need this? Yes. But I just need to replace this, right? Because the weapon stack is an array of slots. So let's hope I've got it right. It's actually been like a solid 3 weeks since I've looked at this project. So let's see how we go. Okay, we need to load into the world. Hit this button. G is the drop button. We still crash. Current ammo on resource base weapon slot. Okay, I've not called it that because I have learned to not use this particular case. So I believe it's correctly cased. And if you do, because it's typed, which is awesome, current ammo. And this should be reserve ammo. And the weapon drop. I get a feeling that these should be the same as well. Current ammo, but it's not. That's not where it's crashing. It's crashing here. So let's just go. We'll get through it. Current ammo and base type int. Okay, so this is the rigid body. Let's have a look at the weapon dropped. Yeah. So what we really need to do is to take that slot and put it into this particular variable. So how the rigid body is set up at the moment is that now it's got a weapon variable and we just need to put the slot there. So we don't need to like mirror the ammo anymore. We just need to say slot equals weapon dot weapon slot or whatever it's supposed to be. Are we making sense? So this needs to, I'm just going to comment these out in case I need them again and I'm wrong about what I'm assuming. And we'll go with weapon dropped. Come here. Dot weapon equals slot. And that should be all we need. Hey, look at that. We did it. That's pretty cool. So now that I can drop the weapons, we can get back to the example of me showing you that let's just go back to what I did, which is, if I can find the flippin' function, when we add the weapon, we're testing for the size. We're saying weapon stack dot size equals 2. And if it is, we return out. We should probably do that test further up the stack, but let's have a look. Let's make sure when we walk over it, we can pick it up. And the animations are a bit scuffed, and we can't pick up any of these. But if we drop this and go over to say the shotgun, we can pick up the shotgun. So that's basically how you put a limit on your weapons. It's that simple. We probably find a better spot for this. If weapon pickup ready is equal to true, because we don't need to run basically any of the code. Where is the weapon stack? Weapon stock find. In fact, what we want to do is we really just want to run this code after we've decided not to add ammo and pick the weapon up. So that's the correct flow. And yeah, that works. We can just leave it like that. It's fairly readable. I'm happy with that. Because you could also do like if weapon stack is not equal to 2, then pick up. But I think this is clear enough. I'm happy. Okay, so what about searchables? So basically, Metro, what you're looking for is, rather than just going up or down in the stack, you want to be able to say, assign it to a particular key, right? So what we can do in that case is, give me a second, under the weapon manager, let's just increase the slots so that we've got a few more. We'll make it 4. Let's just make sure that works. Okie dokie, it did not, because there is no weapon in the weapon slot. And we are assigning if weapon. So just to protect us there, if weapon slot, if not weapon slot. let's just return. I don't know what this is going to do. I might have some issues in the code because I'm assuming that the weapon slots are always filled. And that's not true anymore. So if you've got like empty weapon slots. So what we really need to do is where we set that code as an example. I've sort of skipped over. See where I've done here, weapon stack.size is equal to 2. Okay, it's fine for testing, but we really just need an export variable here called max weapons. Is max weapons okay? Go with that. It can be an int. And we'll come down to where we've got that too, and we'll replace that with max weapons. And so now we can set that to whatever we want. Right? That makes sense. There's probably still some problems because I'm working with the legacy of the old code where it's going to assume that there are more or less weapons, but we'll address that as it comes up. But now that we know that there is 4 max weapons, let's test this now. So we should be able to pick up these 2. I've only got 4 weapons in the example, so that's probably not the best way. Let's make it 3. So we can pick up the shotgun, but we won't be able to pick up the rigid body rifle. We'll call it that. All right, so now we want to assign these to keys. We've got 3. Right now, when I change weapons, where's the function? So weapon up, and we've got weapon up and weapon down. That's the only 2 imports that I have, which is kind of like, I'm just assuming that that's how it works, right? But if you want it to be different, we're going to have different inputs, and we're going to have different code here, basically, because this is not, maybe you want this as well, right? Like, so let's think about how other games do it. When you scroll, you change the weapons, right? And it normally goes, it increments by 1. That's what this does. So when I scroll, the weapon changes. Obviously, you can't hear. When I scroll, the weapon changes. And I believe also, I've got 1 and 2 keyed there. But there is another way to do this. And I'm trying to think. Give me a moment. If event dot is action pressed action type. There's a way that you can just get the key code from the event. What is it? Let me just redo this so I've got the typing so I know what I'm doing. I've become so reliant on it. Get action text, accumulate, is type, is cancelled, is match, is pressed. Returns true if this input is pressed. Not really, no, that's not what I want. I want is pressed action, string name. Okay, returns true if all the given actions have been pressed. There's not an echo for the event input event key. Unless, okay. It's too hard. Input event exact match is false. It ignores additional input match modifiers. Input event key. Dude, where's the online help? Input event. An abstract class. Because the last thing you want to do is make like a bunch of let's steal someone else's code. Hey Nex, All right, I'm giving up. I'm going to steal someone else's code because it just be like that sometimes. So I'm just going to quit out of this project and go back to the FPS game project. So in this project, I wanted an inventory and I didn't want to make one myself. So I used, I think he's called Devlog Logan. So full credit here. Hi, Nex. Devlog Logan. I think that's who I is. So if you want a really good tutorial on inventory, he's got one and it is absolutely amazing. So I've been using Godot for like 4 years at this point, and even I was learning a lot. He really knows his stuff. Hey, Nex. Hey, you keep writing hi. I see you. I see you. Okay, focusing on getting key codes. Let's have a look at the inventory. There's like a hotbar. Where is it? Let me go to inside upper. No. I tend to use input that is key press key 2, but it raises triggers each keyframe. Ah, interesting. Well, give me a moment, hotbar inventory, to steal someone else's code. Okay, so this is what he wrote. If range key 1 key 7 has input event dot key code, hotbar use emit key code. I'm just going to yoink that. It's unhandled key input. Let me just open Kate and just paste that in so I've got it. And then we'll go back to our other project. See if we can implement the same thing. Because otherwise you would need to create an input event for every single key press. And I mean, that's not like a bad thing to do, right? Like, it's totally a valid choice. Hello. So that's totally fine if you want to just go through and create like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 key presses. I mean, at most it's probably going to be 6 or 7, right? But let's get back to the weapon manager. Okay, so we've got input. Let's create an unhandled input. Obviously, we don't need this part where it's emitting the event, key code minus key 1. But what I want to do is print that out so I know what result I'm getting. I'm expecting it to be a number between 1 and 7. My name is in Arabic, Ahmed. Okay, Ahmed. I wasn't going to say anything because it's not even readable in the chat. Well, it might be readable on YouTube, but like in the OBS chat thingo, I mean, I wouldn't be able to read it anyway, let's be honest. But yeah, hi Ahmed. Okay, let's see if this prints out something. Let's run this. Yeah, see, look at that. It goes up to 5. Okay. That key code minus key 1 is... Yeah. When he did that, I was just like, God damn, that is sick. So we're getting a number between 0, 1, 2, and up to 5 in this case. And it's really just going to be a matter of number of keys, right? So we've got... let me just unbind in the input map for weapon up these physical keys. So it's going to be a bit more easy to work. 2D art style DPS game. What's a DPS game? Because I'm like in my head right now thinking about MMOs, like damage per second. Anyone play WoW? Dota? All I can think about is DPS. FPS. Oh, okay. 2D art style FPS game. Like from the side perspective, you mean, or top down? Right. Okay. So we've unbound that. So you mean, I don't know what you mean anymore. Okay. So key, I believe it would be 0, 1, 2, and 3. Right. 0, 1, 2. Okay. No, I need to go up to the next one. Key 4. Nice. No, it's okay. I get you. Do you mean from the side or from the top? If it's 2D. Man, I haven't made 2D in ages. Okay, so while we're doing that, let's focus back in on this. So now we've got the unhandled key input. Metro, I promise I'm going to answer your question. It's just taken ages. Unhandled key input is giving us a number output of 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? So that's exactly what you need. You just, I don't know, maybe if you could find a way to like input this as like the maximum number of keys, you could hard code it like I have here. And so at this point, we just need to call this exact same function. GetRef is just a number, right? So we can store this in a variable, and it does take time, eh? So we can, let's just call it the same, like reference. Actually, no, everyone said they hated that. We'll just call it weapon slot. No, that's taken. Slot number equals, I'll leave that in brackets because I'm feeling lazy. And then we just go exit because that's the built-in function that we've got. Weapon stack, and we call the slot number that we want. Slot index, yeah, that's a good name. But yeah, we could just call it index. Like Doom, but in vector, not pixel. Oh, that's interesting. It sounds hard, man. Anyway, let's see if this works. And oh, it calls an error because I need to do this exact same thing where I check to see if it's not exceeding the max size of the stack. Okay. We can just say we're going min or max though, so we just need to care about, it can't go past 0, so realistically we just need to check to see if it exceeds the size. So if weapon stack.size, I'm just gonna be lazy because this math thing here is it works, but it's kind of like annoying. If weapon stack.size -1 is less than slot number. You guys are about to see how bad I am at less than or greater than evaluations. I hope this is right. I basically get them wrong every time. It crashed. Oh my god. Oh man. Exposed. Invalid get index 2. Okay. It doesn't work at all now. Caught in 4K. It's actually only 1080p, but we'll go with that. Let's reset because I obviously don't know what I'm doing, and reevaluate. Sometimes it's all you got to do if you don't know. Works, and obviously it crashes because the slot number is 2, but the weapon stack only goes up to 1. I know what was going wrong here. I was going -1 where that was the wrong way. Yeah, but it worked, didn't it? It doesn't swap at all now, and then it just crashes. It's only getting called when it's going to crash. Oh my god. And then you would accept... But now it just doesn't get called. Because it's never true. Or, I don't know. This one's a bit of a head scratcher for me, because... less than or equal to? Maybe I need to like... it needs to be like that. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. This is why it takes me so long to make a tutorial. That's better. That works. That's so funny. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. And so now we finally have... It's not assignable, right? So this code, it doesn't like, you know, your rifle isn't going to go to slot number 3. That would be a little bit more complicated. That would be sort of, we would need to expand it by a fair bit. So we would need to say you wanted to have 6 slots, and each of them, you would need to create empty weapon slots on all of single one of them. And you would also, I would need to have the weapon slot specifically be like open to a certain type of weapon. It really just depends on what you want to do at that point. Like, you know how to limit them, right? If you wanted to assign them, where's my weapon slot code? You're going to need to, where is it? Think about what you want for your game specifically. I can't find my code. Weapon slots right there in front of me. So say you wanted the weapon slot to hold just rifles or primary. I used to do a thing in Godot 3.5 when I was working on this like a few years ago. It was I had a primary and a secondary weapon, right? So it was a little bit more like Halo, or not even Halo actually. Excuse me. I'm actually not too sure, but basically the point was like you would have a pistol and a rifle, and say if you wanted to pick up, you had an M4 and an AK. All the weapons slot with 1 key. It's perfect. Okay, awesome. That's great. That's really good to hear. Best way to learn GD script professionally? Well, unfortunately, there isn't a way to do that. So you can just learn it on YouTube. And none of us I'm not a professional, by the way. I'm just a guy. Just a guy that likes to chill out and hang out and write a lot of code. It just became what I did for fun, you know? And so if you just, write a little bit of code every day, eventually you get to that level. It's just a time thing, at least for me. But it just depends what you want, right? Like if you want to make games like as a full-time game developer, okay, Metro, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Like if you wanted to be a professional Godot game, the thing is, right? Like no one uses Godot in like the commercial space. So if you wanted to use Godot, you're going down the indie route, and that means you need to find a job, because chances of your stuff taking off are like a lot lower. You can do it, of course. It's just it's more risky. It depends how old you are as well. Like I'm old, guys. Like I couldn't just like drop everything to make a game or like become a full-time game developer. So like if you're young and you want to try the indie thing and you know how to make if you know how to code in Godot, like yeah, you could do it. You could become a professional GD script person. Professional GD script programmer. But yeah. Hang on a second. I can't see that. I know you're asking for something. Ooh. Shout out to Aerovita. Oh, Aerovita. You working on a game? Have you got like a Steam page, or have you got like a place where people can see your game? I'll shout you out. I'm chill. Drop links, bro. There's only a few of us in here. It's not like a bigger stream where you get banned for that. I'll allow it. Ooh, what's the time? It is 9 o'clock. Oh, okay. Yeah, hit me up. Are you on the Discord? Jump on the Discord when you've oops, sorry. When you've got something ready, you can show me on the Discord. There's like 100 people hanging out there. It's a good place. Should I spam it in the chat? I don't even know how to. Where's my Discord? Like, it's in the description. Oh, it's not in the description. Jesus, what's wrong with me? I'm so bad at this social media thing. Hey, no worries, Metro. Where is Restream? Jump on the Discord if you haven't, because that's where you can share that stuff. Okay, we've got Ahmed. I hope I can learn Godot and make my own games. It's very unique. Thanks for the answer. I have to care more about getting a job before working my game. Yeah, and that's sort of like the issue. I guess it just depends like where you're at in life. Like if you're young and you haven't gone to uni yet, you can learn how to make games. You're not going to use Godot, right? Or you might, right? You study like software. I don't even know what the name of the course would be, you know, like whatever it is, computer programming, and you can go down that path. You still have the opportunity. But if you're an old dude like me that already has a career in something else, well, we stream on YouTube and hope. Okay. Where were we? We're out of this project. Quit to project list. Let's get back to trying to add an inventory system. Whoa. You guys check this out. Like I made this level in Blender, and I thought it was really good, but then I realized the door was freaking massive. Like, have you ever seen a door that big? That's like a 5 meter tall door. Where would you find a 5 meter tall door in a building in the middle of the Antarctic? It just doesn't make any sense. It's too tall. It's too tall. I got to make it smaller at some point. But it is what it is right now. And I need to find a way to pick up that weapon. I think it might be a bit big. Yeah. I thought the same thing when I brought it in. I was like, I need to make that just a tad smaller at some point. Right now, I need to get my inventory working properly. Which means I need to understand how I did it originally 2 weeks ago. Right, okay, so that's why I was even looking at the outer building level, because it had an interactable which had a slot. So now if I wanted to make the rigid body the interactable, it would need to be the thing with the slot. And then it needs to have an item. So basically I just need to move all of this up to the rigid body, and when it's interacted with it, I just need to call a function called passOnItem, which doesn't exist anymore. I basically need to get it to the player interfaces, the player's inventory. Where is the player, by the way? We've got the player rig, and the player has an inventory with the 15 slots, right? And he has a function, I'm fairly certain, called something. What the heck? Interface drop slot data, var pickup, interactable, instantiate, pickup dot slot data dot slot, rigid body. Okay, this is on drop. Detection area, new item picked up, pickup. Okay, so there's really not that much going on there. Dude, how nice is this? I'm loving this tune. What's this? Kevin MacLeod, on hold for you. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you guys that the music today is by Kevin MacLeod. Because it is CC by attribution, so I better do that properly. And he makes music that is royalty free, which is really great. And his website is Incompetech. And if you ever want to make content, YouTube videos, his website is really great for that. Okay, we've got the drop position, use slot, on detection. Am I just calling that inventory pickup slot data? I think I must have just been force calling that at some point. Okay. Right, because it is an area at the end of the day. Was I potentially not waiting for it to be interacted with? What software do I use to make sound for my game? I use Reaper. So I think a lot of people would say to use Audacity because it is free and open source, but Reaper is free. I won't open it because I'm a bit worried what it'll do to the sound, because it might just hog the microphone and you won't be able to hear me. But it is a very good piece of software. It is very advanced. So for me, it's not a problem because before I was obsessed with making games, I was obsessed with making music. And that's how I learned, like I used Reaper to write all my music. And so I learned how to use Reaper before I learned how to make games. And so for me, if I'm making sounds, if I'm making anything for YouTube, it's getting put into Reaper and I'm running all the effects over the top of it beforehand. So, you know, if you've got a microphone, if you want to do like some Foley and make some noises, if you need to get sounds, you can go to freesounds.org. This is a great place if you need to find sounds for anything you want. Like if you want, I know there weren't any sounds in my template, but eventually when I add them, I'm going to come here and I'll just go to like gunshot. Obviously, you probably want to search for a more specific thing. Working alongside the importance. Yeah, it's super important to make sure that you can survive in this world, right? Because I was looking at the wrong camera. You need to make sure that you can provide for yourself, for your family, all those kind of things. And if you can do that with game dev, that's awesome. And I think if you're still studying, then you have an opportunity to do that, you know? So go for it. But yeah, okay, so gunshots. You can get it from Free Sound. This is going to blow the freaking sound out. I don't know, let's see. It's a laser. See you later, Ahmed. But yeah, like you just pull that and then you drop it into Audacity, or for me, I'm going to drop it into Reaper. I'm going to run, you know, I'll probably cut it to make it a little bit shorter or whatever it is. And then you're just going to hook it up to an audio stream player. And that's all you have to do. It's really nice. What is the time? If you guys will excuse me for just a minute or two, I'm going to go and get a drink of water because I don't have one here. Oh my goodness. What is going on? I'm back and I have water. Water brought to you by water. You should drink some. Okay. Alright, so I'm eventually going to work out how to add this weapon to my inventory. Okay, so is there anything you should know? Making games is a long process and you're going to get stuck, but just keep trying. It's just a really long problem to solve. And as soon as you get to the next, as soon as you solve one problem, you'll get a little bit further along and there'll be another one. And it just keeps going like that. But if you like solving problems, that's great. Water is great. Okay. So this was called, I'm gonna copy some code. In fact, I need all of this. I used to modify games, but I want to try making some. Yeah, okay. So if you modify games, you're on track. Like, you probably know most of the stuff, and you're probably used to having to persist through some, you know, some unfun stuff to make it work. Okay, we don't have a pickup label. That's fine. Let's not do that then. Let's just leave that off for now. So we're gonna have a slot. And it's funny, I'm gonna move this up at the top because once I finish this, I'm gonna delete everything else because I'm not gonna need it. There's slot, and this will be an item. And that is in menus, interface, inventory, items, and it's the AR. And that is pretty much it. I'm gonna run into some issues with this down the line. I'm gonna have to really seriously think about how I want this to work, because at the moment, like, the slot is going to be a weapon and it's always going to have 30 ammo, but what happens when I drop it and it doesn't, right? Is the item going to have a different amount of ammo? I think it will, just based on if I'm trying to remember how I originally set this up. I'm hoping that's going to work out. And what will happen to the other... Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works. We might have to do some testing. All right, so we've got the slot. All of these functions on detected, the set ammo. We could probably just ditch this function. I'm going to comment that out, which means we don't need these. It's confusing to look at. It's a weapon that is still important. We still want to know, do we though? Does it matter? I don't think it matters if it's what type it is, because that's no longer of concern, because the weapon isn't going into the weapon manager anymore. It's going into the inventory. Could I try making a unique instance for each weapon pickup? Well, the slot will be unique, but the item data will be filled when I drop the item. So theoretically, what I'm concerned about is if you have two assault rifles side by side, you pick one up, you shoot it, and then you drop it. What happens to the item data on the ground? And I think it would be duplicated, right? The reserve ammo sticks to the player, so when you drop the weapon, you keep the ammo. Yes, it will, because the reserve ammo is also in the inventory. I think. It's been a few weeks. But from what I remember, the reserve ammo it's not entirely independent. What happens is whenever you reload or whenever you access the weapon, it checks and updates from the inventory. So it kind of works. I'm gonna have to address that too. If I want to build an entire system, it's so funny. You know, it's like you build an entire weapon system and it's like, actually, I don't want to use it like that. And then you have to rewrite the whole thing because it doesn't work with an inventory. What was I thinking? Oh well. That's just game dev, right? Okay, so when we are interacted, we basically want to do the exact same thing. So I must have had a function called pass on item. This is getting called on the ray, which means that I was intending for the detection to call up, which I don't like. I don't like that, right? So we pass on self. I don't think I've done anything with that yet. Perhaps it could be owner rather than self. The question is, how do we get the item data from the weapon on the ground all the way up to the player to call this piece of code where we call it on the inventory? And what's the best path? The audio, so the detection ray, forget that it's called audio log detection. It's what knows what's being looked at, right? It is a child of the player. So it's best suited for this. So we could have a function. It's like a callable would probably be best, but I don't really have time for that. Like where we can just do anything we want. The easiest way to do it would just to essentially give it a signal called item collected, I guess, and it's going to emit slot data, right? I think that's what we're expecting. We're expecting slot data, not a slot. So, hang on a second. So we have to pass up slot data somehow. And then we create a function called on item collected. It will probably need to take data, but for now I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to have it return void. And it's, yeah, actually I will need it to collect slot data, and it would be slot data. And it's essentially just going to pass on, it's going to emit the signal, item collected, dot emit, and it's going to pass on that slot data. Okay, so that's really all we need. And then on the particular go back to the outside world. Where'd it go? I've got too much stuff open. So we were originally calling pass on item. So when it's interacted with, it gets the interactor, and we can just call that function. What's it called? I've forgotten already. On item collect. Jeez. On item collected. Onto building. And we can pass on the slot data. Okay. So now it knows that. We're going around back and forth. Item dot slot data. Item collected emits slot data. And so from here, we can just connect that signal to the on detected item, on detection area. I might rename that. I don't think it's being used. On item collected. I'm about to find out. Actually, in the interest of not me fucking up my project, I'm going to create a copy of this function because I don't like its name, and make a new one. And just delete all this stuff and just go on item picked up. Right. And then we can pass that signal on and connect it to that function. And fingers crossed that this actually works. It probably won't, let's be honest. Let's run over to this weapon. Nothing is happening because, and this is literally always the case, it's not on the same layer. It's like the problem every single time. Outer building. Okay, let's go to the inspector. Let's go to the collision. The collision layer is now on layer 8. I still feel like I'm forgetting something. It's still not working. I think I need to rename the function because I stole it from the old one and it's different now. God damn, I like this sound. This is so good. What is this? The Secret of Tiki Island by Kevin MacLeod. Can I give this a star? I don't know how to do it. For the first time in years, I had to download a local music player so that I could get royalty-free music to play on stream. I don't know how to favorite this. It should be up here, but it's not. And it's somewhere in this playlist. I wouldn't have a clue. Oh well. Secret of Tiki Island. Let's try to remember it. Okay. Now I was realizing that the function was probably on interacted. No, that's correct. On item collected. Oh, I know this one. Perhaps we're doing something wrong here. Oh, you know what it is? You know what? I think we just need to run the game again. I think what I forgot to do is actually delete the weapon. So now I can pick... It's there! All this time. Okay. We got there eventually. Where's my M4? I wonder if it's safe to just delete it after I return itself. Keyframe? I could probably call it on the player once it's well, let's just see. You know? It's not happy. That makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Sorry. Okay. We're making progress. Dun, dun. Man. Okay. All right. So now, what realistically, if you didn't have a weapon equipped, you would want the weapon to equip automatically when you picked it up, or does it not matter? Because personally, I feel like you would want it to equip when you picked it up. And that's just me. So if you're without a weapon, I mean, I've got one in the inventory, but if you don't have one and you picked it up, would you want it to be equipped automatically? I think that's the right call to make. But I don't know, I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. That's like literally the same song. Okay. Let's have a look at how this works. So on the player, we've got inventory data.pickup slot data. So we know we're passing that on. We need to go to inventory data, which is like inventory data. Pickup slot. Okay. Let's have a look at this code. It is a slightly modified version of devlog Logan's inventory. So I am calling a special function if the item data is ammo. I'm emitting a signal for that. But so could I do the same thing if it was a weapon? So I'm saying inventory manager notify ammo picked up. And it's got a function called update ammo, which is probably what that does. Notify ammo picked up. So if I'm using the, so basically this is a UI call, right? I'm checking if the weapon is the same as the current weapon. And then if it is, then I'm updating the reserve ammo. Right, yeah, okay. Because the weapon manager only really cares about the ammo when it's only cares about the ammo of the weapon that's currently equipped. Doesn't care about the ammo of the other ones. It checks it when you pick it up or when you equip it. So this is here. We've got a function called equip weapon. So we just probably need to call this. Do we need to call unequip first? Register linked, play linked item, update ammo, consume ammo, notify ammo picked up, equip weapon, unequip weapon. So when we change weapons, I'm assuming we're calling unequip first. Let's have a look. Make sure everything's still working, because it could be broken. So I have a pistol that I can pick up. And then I can equip that. And I can equip that. And it automatically changes when I equip the weapon, which I think is a nice touch. And then I can go in between these two, no problems. So let's just have a think about where that's getting pulled up from. Probably the hotbar. I'm just calling item activated. Item data weapon. Yeah, if index item activated. We're getting deep in the weeds now. Alrighty. It doesn't matter. I'm getting lost in the source. G'day, is this on... Is it a part of the template? Hello, Meow Literary. No, this is not a part of the template that I have on the asset library. Will it be a part of the asset? It probably won't ever be a part of the template because it is very specific. Not everyone wants an inventory, I would say. I would... No, it's all good. So I would say, like, if I was going to make an inventory, what I need to do, so if I'm thinking about how I'd want to build this up. So right now I've got the weapon manager as an asset on the library. It needs to be modified because right now it's not very well suited for anything other than what it does in terms of how it manages the weapons. So I need to update that so it uses resources rather than string references when it changes weapons. And then I would need to probably create a separate template for inventory that is well suited to working with the weapon template. That would probably be the best course of action. Am I doing that right now? No. Will I do it in the future? Maybe. I recently finished working on an audio library. What is it called? An audio diary plugin. And is it useful? I would say, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Are people going to need something like this? Maybe not. I don't think many indie people like hire voice actors and create audio logs. But if they were using Godot, they could use Audio Logic, my plugin, to make it. So that's my latest project. It's pretty much done. You can create an audio log. Obviously, you need to record an audio log and add it to it and give it a name. And then obviously everything else is really optional. The name of the person speaking, the text of what they say so that you can display it as subtitles. And then obviously, you know, you guys have played BioShock, right? System Shock, all the shocks, like all those games. you normally have something like get inserted into a cassette, or like something plays in the background. You've got like that crackling noise. That's basically all this does. And so you've got an insert effect. I'm kind of the hack that really tells you why. Or conversations. Yeah, like I think a lot of guys, like a lot of indie developers would just avoid this kind of stuff because it costs money, right? Like no one wants, I mean, people probably do want to put like voice acting in their game, but they don't have the budget for it. So like this exists.
This is an example audio log. It will be added to the log collected dictionary and can be retrieved from the singleton.
And so like all of that stuff, it's not very loud, but the sound of the insert can be changed, the end of the insert can be changed, the background effect can be changed, and even something that I think is actually very valuable that I got out of this is a way to create a stack of effects. So I don't know if you guys have worked much with the audio. You can create effects on your particular bus that you're working on. So if you had like effects or whatever it is, you had a set of effects, and it can be kind of annoying to work on these, and you can't save them as a single set of effects. And so what I made is essentially a bus effects stack. And so you can create any number of stacks, any number of so you create a bus effect, and then you add any effect you want, and that'll be saved as a resource, and then you can just double click and add it as a set of effects to a bus. So I think if I wanted to pull anything out of this project, it would be this. I think it could even have value added fully to mainline Godot. Rather than having to add one individually, you could potentially open up something and add like a stack of effects. Maybe down the line I'll do that. But right now, I think this is probably the best thing that I got out of it. It could be its own asset, honestly. But yeah, that was my latest project. I don't really know what to do next. I'm sort of thinking about, I need to write documentation for that, and then I'll probably get back to making videos. I'm testing out streaming because obviously I can work on projects and still make content. It's really hard. Like if you want to sit down and make a plugin, well, you can't make videos because you're making a plugin instead. And so I think this is a pretty good idea. Could be wrong. Okay. Now I've gone off on a tangent and I've forgotten what the heck I was doing. I was working on equipping this weapon when you pick it up and you don't have any other weapon equipped. This is going to be a challenging one. Because how are we going to know? Because none of these systems communicate with each other. If I have to think about what happens, we pick up the weapon and all it does is emit the signal with the slot data to the inventory. Actually, it doesn't emit the signal, it calls the function. Pick up slot data on the inventory, and all that does... Are those arms from Mixamo? No, these arms are ones that I made myself. I made them with an add-on in Blender called Make Human. So if you have Blender, you can use Make Human to create a human. You can manipulate it to make it look a certain kind of way. So here's one that I created for the audio logic example so I could have a portrait. So it's really good. It allows you to create a person, and now my computer is totally chugging. So I use that to make the arms. If you want those arms, you can buy them as well. They're on my itch for $5. You also get the FPS Template Pro, which is pretty good. I need to improve it though. Would be funny if they were made the same, but arms are arms. Yeah, I would have liked, when I was originally making these arms, I really wanted to put thin things on the hands, right? Like to help it stand out a little bit. Like a lot of FPS games now, they've got the tactical gloves or whatever. But it turns out that I'm not that good at Blender. So they're just there as arms. I used an add-on. I didn't even model them myself. I didn't make the weapons either. I downloaded them. They're CC0 weapons. So at the end of the day, I wasn't able to. Okie dokie. Inventory data. Yeah, exactly. Fingerless gloves or something like that. It's a lot of work. It'd probably take me like a good solid, 2 or 3 months to make something passable. It wouldn't even be good. It would just be okay. Like you would show it to someone and they'd be like, not bad. I mean, they're not going to buy it from you or anything like that. They might, but like, they would just, they're not going to say it's bad. They're not going to say it's good, but it would just take me so long to do it that it's just, I gave up. If slot data index is item data ammo, notify ammo pickup. So what I need to do is I need to check if we have a weapon equipped, number one. If we don't, should we equip it? I think that's the plan. We've got no chance. Bad guys. I actually don't understand the reference. Sorry. Dude, this song is sick. Hard Boiled by Kevin MacLeod. Sounds like we're planning a heist. Okay. So the inventory manager. And it has a weapon. It has a reference to the weapon manager. So this might be my way in. Oh, okay. Vests trending on YouTube. I used to like wearing vests when I was in high school. 10 years ago. Actually, I wasn't even in high school 10 years ago. I'm so old. When I was in high school 15 years ago. I don't even know if I was in high school 15 years ago. Guys, what's happened to me? Okay. Register linked inventory, use inventory update. Okay. Update ammo, consume ammo, notify ammo picked up. Exit. So I've got access to the weapon manager here, so I can query it under the inventory manager. So what I can do is, I believe the weapon has its own script and it's item data weapon. This is all like object oriented based. So I can use that as a way to see. I can say if I literally just repeat the top slot data's index dot item data is item data weapon. We want to basically, we're gonna have to create a function here. And it's going to be notify weapon. I've got my glasses here. I'm blind and I can't see. the screen that well these days. And these are filthy. Hey, not Alex. If you're not Alex, who are you? Dun, dun, dun. Go notify weapon picked up. Okay, now we just have to create that function. So I'll do it under here. And we'll just steal this because I'm lazy. Okay, I've never used the Godot engine before. Oh well, it's a great engine. It can do basically anything. Okay, so now that we're telling our inventory that we've picked up a weapon, what we need to do is we need to query to see if the weapon manager has any weapons equipped. So I'm guessing empty is what we want to find. So where'd that function go? Inventory. I've got so many scripts open. Inventory manager. So what we want to do is we want to go weapon manager dot I believe it is going to be the weapon stack. Really hate the name of that function, that variable. The weapon manager has a current weapon. You've had some trouble with the logic of 3D games in Godot, and it didn't help that I didn't have a good way to figure out intended workflows. But it seems to, yeah, it's really good at 2D. It's if you're making a 2D game, it's a very good choice for an engine. 3D, it's gotten a lot better. I can tell you that much. I was using Godot to make 3D projects. I don't think I've published. Oh no, I have published 3D games. I was using Godot to make projects, like 3D projects, back in 2020. It's like 3.2, and it was a lot more challenging than it is today. Today it's a lot easier. It looks a lot better, but like just naturally, you have to work really hard to make it look good. Back then, it still did like PlayStation 1 style games very well. It was a good choice for that. But you know, it's open source, so it's free to use. You're never gonna have to pay a license fee. If you make a game and it goes viral, all that money belongs to you and probably Steam. But you know, to me, the way I think about it is like, in my opinion, at least, when it comes to like software and licenses, open source, I don't know why it isn't a bigger influence on the choice businesses make. Because like, if you think about how much like some companies need to pay in order to, you know, use Unity, use Unreal, it's a lot of money. And I suppose the business justification for that would be, well, it would cost us a fortune to make our own engine. But you could leverage an open source engine. You could make changes to it. You could, you know, commit upstream. Like, you know, you can do all that stuff with open source software, and it's all free. Well, unless you're paying people to make changes to it. But to me, I don't know why more people don't use open source software when it comes to this, because gaming's huge. And if you do make a hit game, then you're paying millions in royalties. I don't use C#. I use GDScript. Hey, CupIXD. Right now, Max, I'm working on a random project, I guess you could call it. Basically, I don't really have an active game that I'm making, but I do have a project where I am making a game, And it's what I use it for is ideas. So because I make videos, I'm just casually, I made a first person, which IDE? I use Godot. I just use Godot. I don't use an IDE. Just cup. Oh, I get it. Yeah. But yeah, so I got lost in what I was talking about. Yeah, so my project is just random. I like to make it. I work on it, and once I think I've got a good idea, I might make a tutorial. I might make a devlog. It just depends. Yeah, it's a tough one. Cup. Notify weapon picked up. But yeah, I think some people call me Mayo. Oh, right, because it says MEOW. Meow. Meow literally. No, meow literary. Meow literally. I can't say it. It's hard, man. Okay, so we've got the... Okay, so what I was thinking about is the weapon manager. And I'm trying to figure out if there is not a weapon equipped. And how this works in this current version of my weapon manager is I just have a weapon called empty, which doesn't have the hands up. Basically, the player character is T-posing, but you can't see that because it's first person perspective. So that's what empty is. And what I need to do is to check if the player character's current weapon is empty. If it is, then we can equip the weapon. So does the T-pose cast a shadow? Yeah, it does, and I need to fix it. Yeah, I need to probably set the player character. What I need to do probably in the future, this is way down the line, I probably need to have separate mesh for casting shadows and for reflections and all that kind of stuff, and not the arms. That's probably what I'll do, or I just won't cast shadows because, like, who cares? I'm just some indie game. I don't know what I'll do. But yes, right now, it's not very visible in the current level that I'm working on, but if I go to my test level, test world, I think it's test_world, you might be able to see some really bad shadowing going on here. So, oh wait, wrong button. Check this shit out. Because I'm doing some interesting things with the shader, let's see if I can trigger this. See over there? That's the shadow for the arms flickering over there. I'm getting shot at. So that's a problem right now. It's probably very fixable. Dude, where is the rig even sitting on the... Oh yeah, I have a scene for that. And I've got the human. To be honest, I've never tried to turn shadows off, so I don't actually know where to look. Cast shadow, there it is, off. So I just need to go through these meshes and tell them not to cast shadows. And that's one problem put off for now, I guess you would say. Hey, Rion. And that'll be good enough for now. But yeah, what I want to do in the future is probably set up a second mesh to cast shadows. Okay, we'll turn that off. Alrighty. And if I ran it again, I guess we wouldn't see them. I hope. It's got a custom shader on it, so I don't actually know for sure if that's going to work, but it looks like it has. I guess we'll keep an eye out for that. Alright. Let's get back on track. Well, Godot has its own language, Rion. So you use something called GD script. People like to compare it to Python, but personally, and this is maybe a bad take, I think it's a little bit closer to JavaScript than it is to Python. I don't know if I'm going to piss people off by saying that, but that's just me. Me, someone that does not write JavaScript for a job. And what do I use? I use something called Sweet Script, which is kind of like JavaScript at my job. And I very rarely have to write code for my job. But yeah, it uses GD script. Sorry, my cables got tangled. Okay. We're going to get there eventually. Where am I? Log, devlog. I'm trying to manipulate the inventory to equip a weapon when I pick it up. Inventory manager. But before that, I was trying to find out the name of the variable for the current weapon. I believe it's current_weapon. I forget though. Oh yeah, Python. Python is a good start. If you're new to coding, Python is a great language to learn. And there's tons of resources out there. But personally, I mean, if you want some other advice on how to learn how to code, what I think works best is if you have something that you're trying to build. I tried for years to learn how to code. Like I hit my head against a wall from 2015 to 2018. For 3 years, I tried, I failed, and then I would stop for a little bit because I got frustrated, and then I would come back and I'd try again and I'd fail. In 2018, things got a little bit better for me, and it still took me another 2 years to sort of get over that hump where I didn't need to constantly be checking for tutorials. And what helped me get over that is having something to make, right? Because I was doing just online tutorials on Python and how to make an app. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And you're just doing small things in the command line, which is fine. But if you really want to try and progress, then you need to have something to make. If your end goal is you can go outside, find some rocks in the right size and design a game around those. Yeah, I 100% agree. Military. Yeah, 100% agree. If your end goal is to make a game, you can just go outside, find some rocks and design a game around those. The important part is getting the tools you want to use. 100%. You have to just start somewhere. And I started with Godot. Actually, I didn't start with Godot, but I like Godot. Yeah. For me, it was making games. I never set out to make games. I have always wanted to make games, but the thing that helped me really learn how to code was making games, because it was something that I enjoyed and I wanted to get better at, and I wanted to make a game, right? So that was just the thing. And I think it's a thing for a lot of people. Okay. I am looking for current weapon. That is the name of it. And it's a weapon resource. Is it really a weapons resource? Interesting. No? Okay, that makes sense. Yes, it is a weapons resource. I remember the tutorial I made, guys. I promise. I remember that. Alrighty. Let us go to here. So let's uncomment this. And its current weapon. So I'm still struggling with this because I don't remember how I set it up. The AR just has a name. So what I want to do, since that's the resource, I believe the variable is weapon name is equal to empty. Then we want to equip. I'll just put a print out here because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. Equip. And then I'll just do plus Slot data. It's not happy. Why isn't it not happy? Expected understand. I forgot to put if at the start of this. Slot data dot item data dot name. So I think this will work. Am I feeling lucky? Do I just call the function? Do we just go full send? Because that's what we're going to do, right? Like, full. Oh, where's this? What am I deleting? Oh, it crashed. SYS. I don't know what you mean by that online. Is really not happy. Holy shit. Oh my god. Failed to load script player interface. Compilation failed. Menus interface. It is really not happy. Okay, couldn't find a play from face. Well, let's just try to move on from that. I think is the way to go. Holy shit. Does the game still run? It's fine. It's not fine. Guys, it's not fine. Oh my god. Newbie 400. I am making an FPS game, I guess. I feel like that needs to be the tagline. It's like making a game maybe. You know? Alright, so that was the thing that I was not happy about. Alright. It's fine, guys. Everything's going to be fine. The game is going to work perfectly, and nothing's going to go wrong. I didn't see all those errors. It's all good. Okay, so let's build it up. After everything that I've done, I've found a way to make the rigid body an item. I've passed that on to the player, and it is being put into the inventory. And now I'm checking to see if the weapon manager has if it has a weapon currently equipped, or if there is no weapon currently equipped is probably a better way to put it. And if there is a weapon, if there isn't a weapon equipped, then we're going to equip this weapon. Let's see if it works. It does not work. Okay. I wonder why. Am I not calling this function? Yeah? Can fully merge with data, slot data, item data is okay. Are we just calling this in the wrong spot? If not slot donors, I think I also need to call this on this second line down here. That's what happens when you take a tutorial and you don't pay attention to what you're doing. Identify not found inventory manager. Okay. Second time's the charm. It's gonna work, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Nice. But we have a problem. It is not in our equipment slots. So what add-on? Oh, it crashed. Nice. What add-ons do I use? I really don't use that many. There it goes again. We're just having a moment. So probably an add-on that I have used the most is Dialogue Manager by Nathan Hode. He's really cool, and he makes a lot of really good products. So shout out. So like a lot of people, I guess, use Dialogic, but I prefer Dialogue Manager because it's a little bit more lightweight and it gives me a little bit more control over what I can do, right? So currently, and it's a little bit out of commission in this project at the moment, but there are going to be like notes that you can find in the world and pick up and read. It's kind of like you do in a lot of immersive sims. And I use Dialogue Manager for that. So I can store all of the dialogue in these texts. I don't think I've got any going at the moment. It kind of looks a bit broken. I haven't touched it in a bit. Is it going to be in objects? Note pickup? No. Story elements, notes, test dialogue. Okay. Is it better to use than BBC code? Well, it does different things. So it allows you to write, obviously, BBC code, but also it lets you store it all in one place. So it's a singleton and it lets you pull it up whenever you want it. So that's basically what I use it for. So for me, it's not really about like the text in itself. It's just a place where I can write it and a place where I can grab it from. That's really it. I could easily do it myself. I like his product and I think it's good. Like, you know, I think he's got good documentation. He's got a whole bunch of videos that you can watch on it. It's more simple than Dialogic. I haven't used Dialogic in a long time though, so, you know, don't quote me on that. And it's more flexible. Other than that, I've got Audiologic, which is my own for creating audio diaries like in BioShock, which all it does is let you design them in this thing, create effects, and sort of decide on the menu to use. And it's a bit broken too, it needs an update. But yeah, that's really it. I haven't spent much time making levels. So if I was going to make a level, I would probably have some more add-ons like the scatter one that everyone uses, things like that. I've got this level as my test level, and it doesn't have a lot going on right now. There's a bunch of assets being pulled in from all over the place, but I don't really have any need for any other add-ons right now. But in the future, probably. Okay, so the current problem that we need to overcome is that even though we equipped the weapon before, we weren't able to add it to the equipment bar at the bottom. So right now you can see we picked up the weapon, that works great, but there's nothing down the bottom. So if I equip this, it's gone forever, and then I need to re-equip it. We don't want that. So I probably need to think about how that works and emulate that via code. So let's go back to the inventory manager. Damn. This is In Your Arms by Kevin MacLeod. Feels like him in the 1950s. 1940s? I don't know. Let's close that. Dun, dun. Okay, so the inventory data, and we just said notify weapon pickup. I don't need to print that anymore. We can get rid of that. But I need to think about how we get things on the hotbar. That comes from the UI code. So this might be a little bit more challenging. So we've got the inventory. There's really not a lot going on here. Set inventory data. Is that all the code that there is? It's in the slot code, I remember. Slot clicked. Right. So we're going to come back to the inventory. Register link, connect, on slot clicked. Inventory data, on slot clicked. Inventory interact. I found this very interesting. I have a project to deliver. I'm going to try and include it. Do you think it's possible to create something similar to a monologue? Yeah. For dialogue manager? Yeah, for sure. It depends. I don't really know what you're trying to do with the monologue. Like dialogue manager is just going to show the text on screen, and then you press enter and it will show the next one. Okie dokie. Alright, so I'm lost a little bit. Inventory clicked. I am emitting a signal. Inventory interact. We're going to have to follow this. What's connected to that? Item options, right? I remember. On equip pressed, and we emit this signal back to the inventory data and the index. Where does this go? Item options. Equip button pressed. Oh, that doesn't tell us. It's connecting from somewhere. Equip. Oh, the equip button. Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay, I understand. Because this has an equip button. Right. Pressed. And then it's going to emit. Equip button pressed. Who does it emit to, though? Probably back to the inventory data, right? It's a web. It's a web of code. Equip button pressed. Emit. And it emits it to the inventory. Does it emit it to the hotbar? Perhaps. Or it goes right up to the top. On inventory interact. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be here. Connect on item equip. Here it is. So it goes right to the top level because obviously we're working in between systems, so we've got to go right up to the top of the player interface to tell it this button was pressed. And go here. So we are calling this in probably two places. Yeah, we've got a function here. Get slot data, if selected slot data, equip slot data, selected slot data, place index, item hide, clear inventory data. Okay. Complicated. On hotbar interact, on equip item. Okay. And we're calling that there as well as we're connected it. Item options hide, cleared inventory data, equip slot data. This is the function we need to call. Equip slot data. So how do we do that from the inventory manager? That is the question. So how do we get from the inventory on the player to the hotbar, which is also on the player? So I could probably call directly down to it at the end of the day. We have selected slot and place index. So it wants to know where to put it and what it is. Get slot data. So it's a duplicate of the same thing. So I'm guessing if I equip this, see it's in both places, but it's the same. I can't equip that, and I can't equip that. But if I use that, it disappears in both places because I'm pretty sure the hotbar is keeping track of that. So it knows what inventory is equipped inside the inventory. So the hotbar equips slot data. And it wants an index. I'm getting there. Right, so it's the index and the inventory data. So I have both of those things, right? When I pick up a weapon, I know where it is. Okay, so here's where I'm saying the slot and the index. So I know the index, but I'm working with a slot, so it has item data. Is that what it wants? It wants inventory data. What's inventory data? Oh, it just wants the inventory. Okay. Does that make sense? Inventory data index. Hang on a second. Okay. We're gonna solve this before I get off. I swear. Get slot data. If selected slot data, hotbar inventory equip. Select. Oh, come on. So annoying. I wonder if it's got anything to do with OBS. Not too sure. I've not had it crash this much since I've started streaming, so I don't know. I mean, you would expect OBS to crash, right? Like, right? Don't know. Okay. We're equipping inventory. We can do this. Yeah, might be a log file dump. I don't know. One of those things I'll probably never be able to figure out and just have to deal with. Okay, we got this. On equip item, inventory data, index, place index. This is what we need to provide to it. So inventory data is easy because we have that already, right? The index, the place, okay, so it wants the index of the item, of the slot, right? Because it's going to get the slot itself. So we know what that is. And I probably sound like a broken record at this point because I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. In the inventory data, we are equipping this. And we have the index there. So we've got that. And then the place index, which I think is where it's meant to show up on the hotbar. So I don't know. Equip slot data. If selected slot data. I think it can be null. I'm really hoping. Yeah, the default is null. What happens if not index? Then it just pick up slot data. I'm calling a function. I think it just goes to whatever's next available. Yeah. It's gonna get around in circles. No, it won't. Will it? Just keep equipping things? Am I creating a circular reference here? I don't know. Doesn't matter. What we've worked out is we just need to call equip slot data. So does the inventory have a way of telling the hotbar that this is happening? Or can I just call it from the player? And you know what's really funny? If I call this from the player... No, I don't want to call it from the player because then it's going to always equip. Whenever you pick up a weapon, it will always equip that weapon. And I'm going to have issues. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. So I probably need to emit a signal from the inventory manager. Or I keep saying inventory manager. From the inventory manager. That's right, top level. It's really got to be here. Inventory manager. I don't know. This is just there's inventory data class name. What inherits inventory manager? Is it a singleton? It is. So the inventory manager is a singleton. So that's probably my ticket where I'm equipping the weapon. I can probably... I'm uncovering all sorts of layers of problems here. So it could totally get to I could just create a signal that the hotbar could subscribe to. Append, is the hotbar inventory in the linked inventory? Register linked inventory. I'm assuming this gets called at the ready. I'm going to print it out. This is what happens when you leave code alone for a couple of months. You don't even realize you have the thing you need. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Resource path. It's a resource, right? Let's just print these. This is also just going to be, yeah, it's tough. Oh yeah, going to an old game save. Resource path is going to give me the information I need. It's hard, man. Like, you just forget everything. Let's have a look. Okay, so test inventory, resource NDTW, hotbar inventory scene. I do have it. I've got the hotbar inventory in this linked inventory dictionary. Oh, it's an array. How do I know which is which? Register linked inventory, hotbar inventory. It'd be a lot more convenient if that was a dictionary. What do I use it for? Linked inventory. Okay. Oh, it's okay. So what I am using this for is for when I do equip and unequip things, so that it knows to happen in both inventory places. Because the hotbar is inventory. It's the same thing as what's inventory is. And so theoretically, without this, you could move one to the other and have them operate independently. I don't want that. I want them to be available in both. So that's what the singleton exists for. Now, can I exploit that to achieve what I want? Is the question. So we're already here. We're notifying that the weapon's been picked up. So I'm equipping it, which I'm calling this. But what I could probably call is the hotbar inventory. And even though this is in this linked inventory, I feel like it's not what it's meant to be used for. So what I am going to try for now is just creating a signal, because I know it will work, rather than messing with the old stuff. New first weapon equipped or something like that. First weapon picked up. Weapon. We'll go with that. And I guess it's going to have a slot. Which will be slot data. And it will also have an index, which will be an int. And so we can notify. And it's funny because, like, I might not even have to call equip weapon anymore, because I'm pretty sure if I emit this with the slot, I'm going to need the index as well. Add this to the function. Oh, the game's running. I didn't even notice. Pass that on. Oh, what happened? So here and here, we pass that on, and then once we get to this, we can emit that information, and we'll have the hotbar subscribe to this signal. So we can go to the hotbar, and on the ready, we can just go new weapon picked up, or rather, inventory manager dot new weapon picked up dot connect, and then we will connect it to a callable. I'm guessing this is really the function we want to connect it to, equip slot data, and we'll see how that goes. And because I have a hunch that if I do that, then the weapon's already going to be equipped. I'm actually going to comment out that. And let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Hey. Not in the slot that I wanted it to go to, but it did show up. And now if I click equip, it just moves. Hang on, did it always do that? Oh yeah, that's a bug. Yeah, shouldn't do that. Okay. But I mean, it's progress. I just want to test something else out. All right, what happens if I quit the pistol? Okay, it's in the, it is, when I press the fourth button, it does react to that, so it is there. I don't know, if I'm being honest. Is the index that I'm emitting yeah, I think probably what's happening is that I'm emitting the wrong index. So here we got 0, 1, 2, 3, and this has got 0, 1, 2, 3. And so I'm emitting this number here, and it's showing up here. What I really want to do is just put it in whatever's next available. That's an interesting bug. Infinite recursion in my script. Ah. God damn it. We got a problem. Okay. That's fucked. All right, because it's the because I've never equipped a weapon. This is that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. So it's fine if I pick up my first weapon, but if I equip my first weapon, that's a problem. So this works totally fine. And then I can equip whatever I want, because I don't think I can unequip everything and it'll crash again. Yeah, so if I don't have anything equipped and then I equip something from the inventory, because I've built in the fact that I don't have anything equipped, and I'm assuming that this function is getting called when I pick something up from the ground, but it's also being called when I equip something. I don't know about that, but I might have to leave it for another time because it's getting pretty late and I'm an old man and I need to sleep. So this might be it for me. It's been good though. Solid 3 hours. You know, we've been chatting. I've got my junk behind me. Look at my desk. I need to clean that up. Yes. But we are here at the end of another stream. And it's been really good. I don't know what else to say, guys. Crank the tunes. I really need to create like an outro, but I don't have one right now. So instead we can just chill to Bass Walker by Kevin MacLeod. I don't really like this song. It's a bit weird. What's a good exiting song? Probably not this. Okay, I can vibe with this. Ultra Lounge. Okay. Oh, damn. I just realized I forgot to monetize the stream. Oh well. You guys probably still have to watch ads too, which is so lame. I'll have to pay attention to that next time. It wouldn't have been worth much anyway. But still. Alrighty. I'll see you guys next time. It's not starting, it's ending, but I don't have an end screen. Ricky, I'll do anything you need me to. You know that. Alrighty. I think I should change the this screen. Instead of saying starting soon, I should just like cross out the starting and just say not. At this point. I'll fix it next time. Alright guys. Talk to you later.